Thank you for your interest in the Travel Monkey Challenge. In this video, I will shortly walk you through the app and all the things that it can do right now. Then, it's up to you how to extend it. To start working on the Travel Monkey Challenge, there's a few things that you have to set up first. 1. You need to fork the repository. 2. You need to set up a couple of Azure services. Don't worry, that's very easy. And 3. Implement all the awesome things that you can come up with. In this video, I will help you get started, except of course for the part where you implement the awesomeness. That's up to you. So the first thing you want to do is go to aka.ms/travelmonkey. There you will find the repository that holds all the code that you can then clone or download and where you can extend from. If you want to get that swag and have a shot at the challenge, then the thing you want to do is fork. To do that, you go to the button right here at the top right and click fork. That will create your own copy of this repository in your own GitHub account. Of course, make sure that you're signed in. All the other information you need is right down here. If we scroll down a little bit, here we have a big README file with all the information, all the links to the right places. So here is a good place to get started and read up on what's already there in the app and what you can do to improve it. Because this app uses some Azure Cognitive Services, there is a couple of services that you need to set up before being able to use this app. If you scroll down here to the Getting Started section, you will see all the things that you need to do, all the steps that you need to take in the Azure portal to set up the free services and get started with the app. If you stick with me a little bit longer, I will show you how to do just that right here. To get our Azure Cognitive Services ready, the first thing we need to do is get into the Azure portal as I did right now. Then we're going to open up the Azure shell and we're going to type in some commands, or rather copy and paste them, and we will use that to spin up our services. So you can find the Azure shell right here at the top, and when you click that, there will be a terminal coming up at the bottom, which will be a Cloud Shell. It takes a minute to connect, and here we are. Here we can just type in commands and do everything to spin up services in the Azure portal. If we now go back to the repository, then the first thing we need to do is create a resource group. And to do that, we have this command right here. So I'll just copy this one and paste that in the Cloud Shell right here. What this will do is Azure group create. This will choose the location for us. I've set it to West US right now. You probably want to look into regions that are closer to your location to make the response times a little bit better. But for the demo, West US works fine. I'm going to remove this resource name right here, and I'm going to name this Travel Monkey Resource Group. When I press return, it will do a little magic right here, and it will give me some JSON file to indicate that the resource deployment has started. Now, for the next steps, for the next services, you can just go back to the repository, scroll a little bit down, you will find the full command right here. You might want to paste this into some kind of notepad thing first, so you can easily rename the resource group here that we've just chosen, and also the name of your service is probably going to be different than your service name goes here. So let's just copy this and paste it into Visual Studio Code. There we go. And then I'm going to use my resource group name here, Travel Monkey Resource Group. And this is the computer vision service. You can see that here. The kind is computer vision. So I'll just name this computer vision service. The SKU is F0, which indicates that this is the free tier of this service, so it will not cost you anything. The rest of the commands will also have F0, or in case of the Bing search, it will be F1. But those will all be the free tiers, so it won't cost you anything to use these services. Now let's just copy all of this over to our Cloud Shell right here, and I paste this in here, press enter. We will have to wait a little bit, and again we will get back some JSON that will tell us the service has begun deploying. That's it. Just repeat this for all the services that you can find in the README on the repository, and when you're done, you will have all the services ready. Now let's go back to the Azure portal for a little and inspect our newly created computer vision service. You can see it right here, computer vision service. Let's go into it. And on this page, we will see all the information you need. This will be true for the computer vision service, but also for the other services that you have created. Here in this top box right here, key 1, there's the key that you need to provide with all your requests. So that key is needed to communicate with the computer vision service. Down below, we have the endpoint we need to use to communicate with the computer vision service. Note that this will differ between the location that you have chosen for your service. So right here, it indicates West US, but if you've chosen a different location, it might be something different for you. Make sure you choose the right one. Make note of these keys, so I'm going to copy this one and the URL. I will copy that later. And then we go to our cloned repository. So we will go into our code right here. And here you will find a file named API keys. You can see it's empty right now. It has these URLs for you set up, but all the keys are still to be pasted in here. So if we have the computer vision key, I'll just paste it in here and make sure that this URL is the right one. So in this case, we have to use the WestUS2 one. Same goes for translation and Bing image search. While we are here, let's have a quick look at how the project structure is built up. The main things are in the view and view models. So our views will be XML pages. This will be our main page. We have a page to add our beautiful traveling pictures. We will have a page for the splash screen and a page for our translations. And behind each page, we will have a view model. So I'm trying to use the MVVM pattern here. I'm not using any third-party plugin to do that. So in the code behind of the main page, you will find a binding context is my main page view model. So there's no magic going on here. You can just see how it works in the code behind. Then I have a couple of services set up to communicate with our cognitive services. So here I have one for the Bing search service, I have one for the computer vision service, and I have one for the translation service. So each of the services is split out into its own service. For the computer vision service, I am using the appropriate NuGet package. So we have the Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services Vision Computer Vision NuGet installed. For the other services, I might have used the code to do that. So I'll just communicate through HTTP requests that you should probably already know when you have communicated with REST services before, because that's all it is. Cognitive services are just REST services that you can communicate to through JSON objects. Then here in the rest of the project, you will have some resources, which are mostly font files. We will have some models to send our data back and forth, some effects for the UI, some data. So I have this mock data store. So all your pictures and translations will be saved in this mock data store. It's only saved for the session of your application. So don't store anything important in there because it will be gone on the next launch. And some converters to do some data conversion in our XAML. Of course, this is all in our shared project right here. So this is our .NET Standard library that is shared across our Android and iOS projects. And these will be the Bootstrap projects that will launch our iOS and Android application. So let's just do that right now. Let's launch our application and we should see the iOS simulator coming up any minute now. We will inspect what our application can do today, and hopefully that will give you some ideas on how to extend it. There we go. Here is our iOS simulator. So let's just get that over to here a little bit. And here comes our Travel Monkey application. So here at the top, you can see a carousel view that was introduced into Xamarin.Forms recently. And you will see some recommendations scrolling by that will give you some inspiration on travel locations where you can go. These images are from Bing image search, so I've just specified a couple of locations where you want to go, and it will get some images automatically and show them in this carousel view. The images might be different from you, depending on how the search results might change. Also, if you want to translate something, right here you can input something. So you can say, I like pancakes. And here you can see we have the different translations for I like pancakes in English, Dutch, Spanish, and French. So that's always handy to keep with you. And this is done with the Cognitive Services Translation service. If we go back and have a look at this last service right here, we can keep track of all the pictures that we are making during our travels. So just click Add New, tap to add a new picture. You can take a picture if you want to, or we can choose one. that we've made before. Since this is the simulator, I'm going to choose one. And you can just choose a photo right here. Let's go with this one of the Golden Gate Bridge. And it will tell us that it sees the actual Golden Gate Bridge, so it will also detect the landmarks within this picture. I can say add picture, and it's added to our library right here. That's what our app can do today. Now it's up to you to find some more new uses, introduce some more cognitive services, some other Azure services, or maybe you want to make this even more better looking than it already is with introducing some new Xamarin.Forms controls or other goodness. Whenever you're done, open that PR, describe us how you did it and what you ran into, what did you like, what did you have some challenges with, and that's the information that we are very interested in. And whenever you have something awesome, we will get you some swag, and I think we are going to choose some random submissions that will even get some credit to buy t-shirts or monkeys or that kind of thing. I'm looking forward to see all your submissions.